Welcome to day 3. If you're here right now, you've already done two of the hardest things a person can do. You stopped gambling and you stayed stopped for another day. But now, the shame is creeping in or crashing down. That voice in your head might be saying things like, "How could I do this to them? I'm such a screw up. I'll never fix this." Because shame will try to pull you back in, and we're not letting that happen. Once again, I'm Rob, and I'm in recovery from a gambling addiction. I made my last bet November the 12th of 2022, and in this 7-part series, now day 3, we're going to be laying out everything that you might be thinking and what you can do about it during the first 7 days that you try to quit gambling. I made my last bet quite a long time ago, and life's gotten a lot better since. I want that for you. So this series was inspired by the fact that I remember how hard it was in the beginning, that I thought I was the only person on earth that had this problem. And I just want you to remember, that is not true. This video is here for you, and I hope that this series can be an integral part of your recovery process. So it's day 3. You might be thinking about the debt, the secret credit cards, the lies, the stealing, the double life. You might be remembering times you promised someone that I'm done, and then turned around and gambled the same night. That's the weight that so many of us carry. Not just the losses, but the betrayals. The ones that we told ourselves weren't that bad in the moment, but now we look back and we're ashamed of them. Here's what I want to tell you. You're not the only one. You're not the first person to lie, to steal, to lose control in the chase of a big gambling win. You're not evil. You're in survival mode. And that doesn't make it okay, but it does mean recovery is still for you. Addiction makes us do things that just aren't aligned with who we are. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means you're a person who got sick and is now a person who's choosing to get better. Let's talk about the difference between guilt and shame. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am something wrong. And here's the problem. Shame keeps you stuck. Shame says you're broken beyond repair, that you might as well keep gambling. Shame says to do it again, because what's the point of getting better? Now, guilt can be useful. Guilt means that you care. Guilt can become motivation. It can help you make amends, change direction, and rebuild. You don't need to avoid guilt. You need to learn from guilt and let it go when it's no longer helping you grow. Now, forgiving yourself doesn't mean pretending that nothing happened. It means saying, yes, I did harm. Yes, I made mistakes, but I'm not those mistakes. You can hold yourself accountable and show yourself compassion. You can say, what I did isn't who I am. That's recovery. Owning the damage without letting it define your future. You won't forgive yourself in a day, let's be honest, but the process starts right now. Every day that you choose recovery, you earn back a little bit more trust with yourself. When I first quit gambling, I had to come to terms with the fact that for years, I lied to my friends, my family, girlfriends, basically everyone that I knew, almost for no reason at a certain point. It had reached a point where if I was shopping for peanut butter, I'd say I was shopping for apples, just because I was so used to covering everything up with a lie that it made me feel impulsively that I had to tell one. I can remember the guilt that I felt when I came to tell my family, hey, the money that you'd given me to cover rent actually went on a parlay. Because I had always told myself, once you get the win, you'll pay everyone back and everyone will forgive you. Everything will be fine. The problem was the win that would accomplish that goal always got further and further away because I kept changing the goalpost. I kept moving the goalpost. I would say, after I win X amount of dollars, I'll quit and I'll pay everyone back and it'll be fine. Then I'd have that win and it didn't feel like enough because it was never about the money. It was always about getting that next bet in. And so there were plenty of lies and there was plenty to be guilty about along the way. But I had to accept that. And I had to move forward recognizing that that's something that I did, but something that I would never allow myself to do again. Maybe you slipped up before. Maybe you quit and went back to gambling. That doesn't mean that you're hopeless. That means that you're human. This isn't about getting everything to be perfect. This is about learning how to live differently, take accountability for things in life, and move forward. One day at a time, one honest moment at a time, one repaired relationship at a time. You're not going to solve everything today, but if you're watching this right now instead of gambling, that's progress. And progress is the only thing that matters. You have the ability right now to beat yourself up all day long. That you're probably thinking that money's never going to come back. How do I break it to the people that I love? How do I actually step out and be honest when I'm feeling this amount of guilt and I feel so embarrassed about telling them? The thoughts that you've had, the actions that you've done up until this point have led to the result of being in gambling debt, being in a bad situation, and being a liar, if we're going to be honest. The same types of thoughts are not going to be the ones that lead to recovery. It's about shifting your mindset. Yes, I lost a lot of money, but that's the amount I had to lose to learn that gambling was always going to end this way. Yes, I lied to my family and I feel guilty about that, but I'm never going to allow that feeling to happen again because I remember how it felt. These are the types of thoughts that you need to begin having here on day 3, but every day going forward. Because if you're not using your guilt in a constructive way, then it's just eating at you. And you might even feel like that's the right thing to do, that you should be suffering as a result of this, that you should feel guilty, that you should feel down because you deserve it. But these kinds of thoughts will always lead you back towards the temptation of gambling. Because once you start feeling sorry for yourself, once you start feeling like, oh, what's the point anyway? You end up going back because you find excuses. Your brain finds excuses to justify going back to the very thing that has destroyed you. Today, I want you to write a letter to your past self, not to send, just to reflect, to make this really sit home. Start with this. I know you were hurting. I know you were lost. Then be kind. Be real. Use that letter to understand what you were escaping. What patterns were you stuck in? What do you want to change going forward? You are not your past, but your past can teach you how to build a future. Come back for day 4 tomorrow. We're going to be talking about how to tell someone the truth, how to rip that Band-Aid off, and why connection is your lifeline in recovery. Let's keep getting better together, one day at a time.